It's the end of the session. I am here. We have close quarters, and I'm wearing this inside. So we have our little buddy here. Yes, I know. Yes, this is my buddy, Mikey. And Mikey was just nibbling on my fingers saying, I don't like you picking me up, but we need to have a little Mikey in the shot for at least a little bit of it. So this is Mikey's roadmap to success. I'm going to kind of work in a reverse order of what we did. We just went outside and did a little bit of clicker training, went outside. So we did a version of what I call click for looks. So basically what we did is we started off by priming the clicker. Priming the clicker is dropping a treat on the ground or handing the dog a treat and then clicking at the same time the treat goes in his mouth to create a classically conditioned response. You want to do that about 10 treats, 3 or 4 times, separate practice sessions with 10 treats each time. After a while, the click means I'm about to get a treat. The last thing you would ever do is click to get his attention. The click is to indicate you did something I wanted. Yes, I'm going to block so you can't see. So he grumbled a little bit because somebody's getting their mail that's right outside. And so that's kind of a normal thing for him to do. Now, what we could do is when that person comes out here, we can give him a treat. So now people coming there means I'm about to get a treat, and that's a little counter conditioning. Okay, so I'll put you down. So basically what we did for the clicker training is we started out inside. We primed the clicker, and then the guardian put him on a leash and said, sit.
Chicago.
Sometimes he sat, sometimes he didn't. So the guardian really needs to practice this inside until when she says sit, every time he's sitting immediately. And the more you practice it, it won't take very long. He'll start doing it really, really well because that's why the click really motivates them. Because oh, that means I'm about to get a treat. So the click, remember, is when he does the action. If you're asking for a sit, when his butt hits the ground, you click, then you'd give him the treat, and then you would say the word sit. If it's laying down, as soon as his chest hits the ground, I would click, and then I would give him a treat and say down. If it's come, as soon as he gets to a certain distance, I click and then give him a treat and say come. So basically what I want you to do is in the house, before you're going for a walk, you're going to first of all set him up for success. You're going to do Doggy Stairmaster. And I have videos for that on my website if you can't figure out how to do that, but it's really simple. Show him you have a treat, and again, you might have to put a bucket or something down at the bottom of the flight of stairs. I didn't see that there's a landing. So you might put like a cardboard box. So you can throw it against the box like a basketball and it just kind of lands there. He runs down the stairs, licks it up. You say Jamaica, or whatever the word is that goes down south, go down the stairs means. Then you show him you have another treat. He runs to the top of the stairs, give him another treat, call this one Canada. Keep throwing them up and down and count each down, up as one repetition. Practice that with an empty stomach the first time until he's like, you're crazy. I've been there 99 times. I'm not going down there anymore. Now we know what his maximum number is. We want to exercise him 50 to 75% of his maximum number multiple times a day. Before everybody comes to pick their mail up, before people come home from work, we just want to give him about 10 minutes to recover after he completes the exercise, before the stimulus happens. A person comes up or knocks on the door or whatever it is. So if people come home at a certain time, give him 10 minutes, or not 10 minutes, but 2 to 5 minutes of Doggy Stairmaster, and then 10 minutes of rest. Then the people start coming. We depleted his excess energy. Now we could do a little bit of that counter conditioning exercise that I just talked about. So when people show up, I might have a bully stick or like a meat treat, and I'm smashing it, and he's eating the treat while the person's over there. This is how I do it the first couple times, which technically is wrong, and a lot of people tell me it's wrong. I do it this way intentionally. So I want to create a positive association. When that person's there, I'm getting this treat. And you only do that a couple times. And then what I would do is when the person's there, I show him that I have the treat, but he doesn't get it yet. We wait for the person to get their mail and walk away, then we give them a treat. So now when people come to the mailbox, instead of me protesting and saying, I don't like you being there because it's right outside the door, when people come to the mailbox, that means I'm going to get a treat. So I like it when people get their mail. Instead of barking, I might go over there and whimper or wag my tail or whatever it is because I like when that happens. So getting back to the walking thing, what you want to do is get that clicker. So you ask him to do something, a sit, a down, or a come, and as soon as he does it, you click, then you give him the treat and say the command word, take 2 steps away from there into a new location, ask for a different command. Do that, and you want to keep on doing that inside until when you tell him to sit or whatever it is, he does it right away. Then once you get to that point, you do about 3 to 6 of them inside, then go out your door, and as soon as you get out your door, do a sit, click, treat. Take 1 or 2, go to the bottom of your steps, click, sit, click, treat. Take a couple steps towards second, crash or down, click, treat. So what we're doing is every 2 or 3 steps, he's got to stop what he's doing, do something for you. Now, I'd also like you to practice the attention game that we were playing. So what you did is we stood out there and we just waited and watched him like a hawk. Your neighbor comes up and talks to you. Hey, I'd look at you right now, but I have to look at the dog, especially at first. After a while, he'll just do it right away. But at first, you just wait, and he's looking and sniffing and everything else, and he looks at you, you click, give him the treat, and what's the word you were saying? Attention. So now looking at my human gets me a treat, and I hear the word attention. So later on, the human can say attention and get the dog to look at them. So when you're on a walk now, at first every like 3 steps, you're stopping and asking for some level of obedience, a sit, a down, or a come. And after a while, then you can go to 4 steps before you do it, 5 steps before you do it. Now let's say you're walking. There's a dog that's walking by the door right now. Let's see if he barks. A little bit of a grumble, but not too bad of a bark. That would have probably been a bark before today. Well, we got 1. Maybe, sometimes yes, sometimes no. So what we do, let's say we're walking down the street and there's another dog walking to us. Dogs' front-facing approach is very confrontational. So if you see a dog walking down the street, I would walk into the street around a car or walk down somebody's driveway, walk around a shrub, and then ask for a sit and click for that. So you increase the distance so he doesn't feel it's a threat. And then we help him practice listening to us and doing stuff for us and good things. We're distracting him away from it, and he's getting rewarded for paying attention to us. Looks, sits, downs, comes. So now we're getting him out of position before he has to react to the dogs. The first thing he's probably going to do is he's going to be like, all wiggly and jiggly. Dogs are normally wiggly and jiggly. He sees another dog, he's going to do this. And I actually have a dog face, so it works out. So he's going to freeze and lower his head and stare. That's the first warning. That's when you want to get him out of there. Most people see that, then they don't do anything. The hair comes up on his back, the tail goes up, the ears come forward. He stands up, and we waited way too long. Now it can happen in a 2 or 3 second, but as soon as you see that freeze, you want to get him out of, move him away. So attention, and then we walk over here and we do a couple clicks and downs. So we're giving him a reason to ignore the other things. And make sure that you're watching him, and every time he looks at you, click. And I would like you to do that in your house. So you have that clicker, have it about 5 or 10, just grab 10 treats. And just wait. He's already asleep. And just wait. Every time he looks at you, click, give him the treat, and say attention. This is the easiest setting that you have. If you can't get him to do it here, you'll never get him to do it outside. So you have to really rep it a lot here. That's why on walks, I would keep your walks as short as you can in terms of avoiding other dogs. And don't push for too long. And again, use the doggy stairmaster. I'm going to talk about the forms of exercise that we went over. But the idea is to get him that exercise first, give him 10 minutes to recover, then go for a walk. He doesn't have as much oomph in him. And at the same time, he's being rewarded for looking away. Now, something else you can do, another exercise, get him the exercise first, another activity. Get him exercise first, then go stand about where you were, about 5 feet beyond on this side of those 2 boxes of bricks. And just wait at like 4 to 6 o'clock. I guarantee there's a million dogs that come by. So you want to find a distance where he can sit far enough away where he can see them, but he'll sit and take a treat. If he won't sit or take the treat, you're too close. So what you do is just stand there. Your setup is actually really beautiful between the buildings, so you're right in the middle. And go ahead. Yeah. And so as soon as he looks at the other dog, you click and then give him a treat, and you can say friendly, amigo, whatever the word is, buddy. So now looking at the other dog gets me a treat. Now if the dog is here, I'm the dog. This is the street in front of me, and the human is standing back here. So I'm the dog, and I'm looking. When I look at the dog, you click from back here. I hear the click. What do? I look away from the dog and look at you. You give me the treat and say amigo, or whatever the word is. So now what we're doing is rewarding him for just looking at the other dog, kind of what we did in the video above, the CER. Now you can do a version of this where he looks at the other dog and then looks away, and then you click. But to get there, usually you're going to wait for him to look at the other dog. He looks at the dog, you click, he looks away, and they give the treat and say amigo. After a while, he'll see the other dog, and after enough practice, he'll see the other dog, and he'll automatically look away on his own before you give him the click, because looking at the dog means I'm about to do the treat, and he's going to try to beat you to the punch. And then at that point, you want to take about a half a second to give him that treat. So you're holding his attention this way away from the other dog, and it's giving the other dog the ability to pass. So either one, there's like 3 versions of this that we're doing. We're looking at the dog and getting a click for looking at it. Now we're getting a click for looking away from the dog. And we're also helping the dog practice basic obedience to get some rewards and attention from the guardian. So now all of this stuff is great, but in order for this to work, he has to respect and see the guardian as an authority figure. For dogs, a lack of rules confuses them into thinking that we are peers. If they are peers, then listening to you is optional. And this is the situation a lot of people create with their dogs, because we think of rules as a negative. So what you want to do instead is first of all, we'll talk about exercise. He needs exercise every day for sure, but he needs it multiple times a day in shorter bursts. So if you get that retractable leash, put a cardboard box or something at the bottom of the stairs that you can just set up there when you do this exercise. So you're at the top of the stairs, you throw the treat, it hits the side, and boom, he runs down and licks it up, again, gets the treat. And you got to find that magic number. There might be, before a walk, maybe he gets 20 up downs on the stairs. Maybe before a friend comes over, he gets 10. Before we're doing the click for looks, you get 15. So you're going to play around with the elements and then try the activity and see how well he performs. If he isn't performing well, maybe get him a little bit more exercise the next time. Instead of doing 15, do 17 up downs on the stairs or whatever it is. So some of the forms of exercise, this Doggy Stairmaster, you can hide treats in your house and just Google scent games, S-C-E-N-T. There's a lot of versions of it. You can do it inside. It's very stimulating for them. I'd recommend you get a snuffle mat. The video I showed you, the floor mat with tassels, feed him his food out of there. Get an Omega Paw treat ball. That'd be a great thing to put and let him nudge around when activity's going outside. You get him distracted. He's working for his food. It's also stimulating. He's using his nose to find it. There's a lot of benefits to it. Other forms of exercise, you can play fetch if he likes to play fetch. You can, when you're on walks, let him sniff as much as possible as long as it's safe to do so. The idea is to come up with a routine of exercise where he can get exercise multiple times a day that works with your schedule. So they have energy bursts in the morning and the evening. So maybe his maximum number of fetch up downs on the stairs is 60. Maybe he gets 40 at morning and evening. And like I said, there's other times that you're going to vary the amount. So that will set him up for success, and he needs that every single day. Another thing that you can do is to help create a healthy leader-follower dynamic is by incorporating rules. If a dog doesn't have any rules, like I said earlier, it's easier as a peer. And in the dog world, leaders are the ones who enforce rules. So if you don't have any rules, you're not enforcing them. Dogs learn through repetition, consistency, and good timing. You have 3 seconds to correct or reward your dog, but you have to do it consistently. So some of the rules I suggested: not being allowed on the red carpet when we're eating food here, not being allowed in the kitchen. That's going to be the easiest one for you to achieve. For boundaries, not being allowed to go out the door unless it sits. So go to the door and say sit once. If he doesn't sit within 3 seconds, walk away, sit down. I already have him on a leash because we don't have a front yard. And sit down and wait 1 minute. After 1 minute, go back to the door and tell him again, sit. If he doesn't sit within 3 seconds this time, I walk away and I sit down for 2 minutes. Next time I sit down for 4 minutes, and so on. A double length of time. I'm only saying it once. If he doesn't do what I want, he doesn't get anything. No punishment, no chastisement, but he doesn't get the reward. But as soon as he sits, man, that door flies open. And then eventually, every door you come to, he has to sit before you open the door and let him in or out. Do the same thing every time he crosses the street. Make him sit at the corner. Every time he wants to get in and out of the car, he's got to sit. You want to get on the bed, you got to sit. So we're making him sit to do a lot of these things. Think of sitting as a way of saying please or thank you. So please, can I get on the bed? Sit. Okay. If you feel like it, then you're going to let him. All right. Now, there's on my website, you can search for invisible or kitchen, and there's videos that show how to establish an invisible boundary. For this carpet, because it's such an open area, you might actually have to leave one of these chairs on its side to create a bit of a barrier so that he can't outmaneuver you because he's really athletic. Now, remember, always use the positive first. So if I want him to be on the carpet, first of all, I'd show him that I have a treat and roll it off the carpet. When he runs off and gets it, I would say the word out. Do that for the kitchen, all your bedrooms. That way you can always tell him out, and he leaves the room, and then we give him the treat afterwards. At first, we throw the treat to lure him to do it. Then we would give him the treat to pay him to do it. Same thing for the dog, for Chicago. We call it a little dog bed in the corner of Chicago. So what you do is you throw a treat there. He goes and looks up. You say the word Chicago. Next thing, you do that about 20 treats. Next thing what you do is you wait for him to not be looking and leave a treat there. And don't say anything. When he discovers it, say Chicago. Third way, I can lead him onto a sit or a down and put the treat in his mouth and say Chicago, and we're more motivating him to want to do that. Now, we also did a version of that with the door. Now, this is going to be harder for you to do because you have to arrange to have somebody else helping you with this. So what I did was I gave him a treat, I had him over there, I put a treat in his mouth. At the same time I put a treat in his mouth, I knocked on the door once. Normally he would bark and rush the door. Because he's getting a treat and he's far away from the door, he did that. So he was happy to stay there. So we did that about 5 or 6 times, then we switched it. Then I knocked on the door, then the guardian gave a treat. Now first, knock on the door and a treat right away. But after a while it was knock or 2 knocks. Then a half a second before I give him the treat. Then 3, and then a full second. So the idea is we're elongating that period of time and we're helping him practice staying here rather than rushing the door. And what we're doing is creating a situation when there's a sound at the door, a knock at the door, if you go over here away from the door, you get a reward. And if you do this enough, the dog will hear you knocking and run away from the door and go sit right there, which is pretty awesome. We also talked about, let me see, there are probably other rules. You have to sit, like I said before, you let him on the bed, sit before you put him on a harness or on the leash before the walk. And if he's really excited for the leash, you can actually go to my website and just search for calm leash There's a video there that I have that actually just explains how you can teach your dog to be calm before the leash. Don't narrate. Don't say, you ready to go for a walkie, walkie, walkie. We get them all worked up that we wonder why they can't listen. They're overstimulated, overexcited. Calm and balanced is what we're looking for. Excited is not a balanced state of mind. They're not going to perform very well when they're overstimulated. All right, so let me see, what else? We went over petting with a purpose and passive training. Petting with a purpose. If I want to pet him, or he is nudging me, or pawing at me, or barking at me, he's telling me what to do. If he tells me what to do and I pet him, well, then I'm validating that. So what I do instead of that is when he tells me to, he nudges, barks at me, I give him a counter order to tell him to sit. If he's already sitting here, I ask him to sit over here, or ask him to lay down. Don't ask him to shake. If he does do it within 3 seconds, I pet him under his chin and I say sit. Remember, they hear the first word you say, so don't say good sit, or oh, what a good dog, sit, and that's it. And also pronunciation matters, so don't say sit, say sit. So, come. That's passive training. We'll talk about that in a sec. So if he doesn't sit within that 3 second window, lean back, pull out your phone, watch some TV, show him, I got other things to do. Playing hard to get is a wonderful tactic for dog training. So if you don't do what I want, there's no punishment, there's no chastisement, but you don't get my attention. After a while, he'll come sit in front of you to prepay for that attention. When he does, make sure you pet him, again, whenever possible, under the chin. Never pet him over his head. And after a while, he's sitting to ask to be on the couch or laying down to ask for some attention. That's a mindset change of I'm asking you versus I'm telling you. We also went over passive training. Passive training is waiting for him to organically offer you behavior and showing him that you like that behavior by giving him attention. Most of the time we tell the dog to sit, 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 and then he finally sits and we pet him. Well, why do I have to listen to you? I say, if you say it 23 times, I sit when I want to sit, not when you want to sit. So what we do is we take that baggage out of the want to and just reward when he does the things that we want on his own. Every time he comes to me, I pet him and say come. Every time he sits, I pet him and say sit. Every time he lays down, I pet him and say crash. He goes there to Chicago, I throw a treat or just say the word Chicago. When he's eating, maybe his command word to eat is cauliflower. So every time he takes his first bite of food, you say the word cauliflower. Go ahead and come on in, this is just for you. And so we're putting things in context and helping him understand that cauliflower means I get to go eat. I'm not a vegetarian, so I don't know what you would eat, but portobello, mushroom, or whatever you want to say. So the idea is now we're creating a vocabulary and helping him understand what it is that we want him to do. And we're waiting for him to do it on his own. When he does it, that gets our attention. If he does anything else, remember, no chastisement, good attention, bad attention, dog's the same thing. So if he does the wrong thing, don't correct him. Just ignore him. Create a situation where he can't do that. And where he can only do a couple things. Where he does the thing you want, he gets a reward. Anything else, nothing happens. After a while, he'll do what you want because that gets him what he wants. Now, we also went over the escalating consequences and how to keep the dog out of the kitchen and behind boundaries. I'm not going to go over those with you, but if you forgot those, let me know. And again, you can search my website for kitchen or invisible, and that'll show you how to enforce an invisible boundary or keep a dog out of the kitchen. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I want to go over? Make sure that you eat something before you feed him first. I would get a snuffle mat, like I said, and Omega Pod treat ball and feed him out of those things. Don't feed him out of his bowl anymore. And once he gets done eating and walks away from the bowl or the snuffle mat or whatever it is, pick it up, dump it empty, and put it up, and he doesn't eat again to the next meal. It is very common for dogs to go a day or two without eating. It's not ethical to withhold food from a dog. It is ethical to say you have to eat when I tell you to eat, and if you don't eat, you walk away, the food goes away because that's the way it is for them in the wild. Don't leave food in his bowl anymore because you're throwing away the most important activity for dogs is eating. So if you have dominion over the food, you eat something first, then you give him permission to eat. If he doesn't eat, the food goes away. Suddenly you're a lot more valuable and important to me than a lot of dogs love us, but they don't respect us as an authority figure. So if they don't respect us, they don't have to listen to us. So, all right. The video above will go over that CER and how to get him to use the harness. I'd like to see you practice in that a couple of times a day without going for a walk. Be very diligent that you don't snap his fingers. And that part that was hard for him was me reaching for that. So what I did is I smashed that treat and I was holding it and just going back and forth with my arm like this. If he freezes here, stops eating the treat, you freeze your movement hand. And at first you're just moving it back and forth like this. Then you're reaching it a little bit more accurately towards him. Then you're eventually touching it. Then you're grasping it, and then you're holding it under. And if he starts biting you, you move too fast. I moved a little bit faster in the video to show you how to do it, but the idea for you to do it is listen to him and go at his pace so that he doesn't bare his teeth or bite your finger. He's not really biting, he's mouthing, but he's saying, I don't like that. So we move too fast, back up and go back to this until he no longer bares his teeth or does any of those things, and eventually he's comfortable with it. The last thing I forgot to mention is one of the rules would be not being allowed in the furniture. And that's a big one for him because he's able to get on top of you whenever he wants. And that's his way of, I think, asking for attention. Now, order those X mats on Amazon, X-M-A-T-S. They're about $11 a piece. It's probably about $100. You probably need about 8 or 9 of them. And then you put those up, and that way he can't get on the furniture. That's going to make the dog bed more valuable. So I would put the dog bed somewhere. I'd probably put the dog bed at your feet or maybe over there between the ottoman and the couch. That way he's kind of near you. This is a little bit farther away. This is something in Chicago I've used just for exclusively people at the door. Let me think. I think that's about it. Oh, I remember there's 2 other things. There's a dog park on Strand. It's Jocelyn Dog Park. And so basically just go down Lincoln till you get to Strand. On the corner is this place called Printing Palace on the ocean side. On the other side is a Chick-fil-A. So turn there and go to the end of the block, and it's the second block. It's on the left side if you're heading towards the beach. And they have a small dog park. It's on the lower end at the bottom of the hill is where the small dog park is. And there's a lot of people that go there. It's a great dog park. You can let him in the big one, but I would start off in a small one, make sure he's comfortable. Last thing is, remember, use that classical, or what I call passive training. Every time he comes and puts his chin on your thigh, you're going to pet him and say chill or whatever relax or whatever the word is that you came up with. I forgot what it is. So we're going to reward him for doing that. And then if you are having a panic attack or you're stressed, you can tell him chill, or whatever the command is. He comes and puts his chin on your thigh and you pet him. Now, if you take away the furniture, he's not going to be able to do that as much. So you'll have to lay on the carpet and just get some pillows, throw pillows, move your table over a little bit. It's on wheels. Sit right in front of your TV and let him lay there and he'll kind of do that a lot because he'll want to snuggle up to you. And every time he does that, you pet him and say whatever the command word is. You got to cuddle with him as much as you want. He just can't come up to the furniture to cuddle with you. And when you do, remember the rules should be in place for a minimum of 90 days or as long as the problem's going on. But once that's done, don't break a rule to reward him. If you want to reward him, rub his belly, play ball or whatever it is. Don't break a rule to reward him because that's just going to make him want to do it more. Now, once you do get to the point where maybe he is allowed back on the furniture, he should never be up here on the back of the couch because then he looks down at you. I promise you the furniture is related to the barking. The book says if you have a dog that demand barks, the 2 things that you always need to do is no more free pets. He has to earn all of his attention by sitting, laying down, whatever it is. Number 2, no furniture. The higher a dog sits, the more rank or social status they have. Sitting here, we're peers. Sitting up here, I think I have more status than the human. And if I have more status than the human, I'm responsible for the human. So I have to protect the human, and I'm going to bark because my human doesn't listen to me. So I have to bark at all these dogs and people to keep them far enough away so they don't realize they could take advantage of my human. The more the dog sees the human in charge, the less it needs to correct and handle things itself. All right, well, I would say that I'm blanking on his name already. Mikey. Mikey, like the cereal. So I'd say Mikey, there's Mikey, but Mikey is a little bit tired right now. Yes, I'm talking about you. He's sitting on the couch. He doesn't realize he's not going to be on the couch for much longer. That's okay. Wait until you get those X-Max so you can enforce them. All right, my name is David, and this is Mikey's Roadmap to Success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.